sharing that knowledge with us. I just, like we were saying before, I like to always use entertainment with education, because therefore try to make it fun when people are learning, so therefore they won't get bored and tired and go, same old same, I heard that before type of thing. So I appreciate you for sharing that knowledge with us too.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Just a few more questions. I'm gonna let some more people jump in because I know we only got like 40 minutes with you. What was it like? Can you tell us about the journey of you becoming Janet Jackson, which is the iconic family, the Jacksons, becoming her attorney? How did that come about for you?
Yeah, so it's just networking. You know, I always tell people like 90% of the music business is networking and knowing the right people. And yeah, like a few years ago, I worked with a guy who his assistant found me. He's an A&R guy starting his own label. He had an investor, but things didn't work out, and so it just kind of fell apart. And then so I just told him, I said, stay in touch, and he liked what I did for him. And then he got in touch with me a few years ago and said, hey, I'm starting a new label. Also, I'm working with Janet Jackson now. I'm helping her with some A&R. And, he brought me on and to help him with his stuff. And then he said, oh, by the way, Janet needs an attorney. And then I said, oh, yeah, of course, I'd love to do that. So I really deal with her brother, Randy, mostly. He's her manager. Okay. And so I met with him first, and then I'll check in with Janet every now and again, but mainly I talk to Randy, and there's a whole team. Actually, there's like a whole her team, and the people have been with her. Most of the core part of the team have been with her for decades. So it's a very close knit group, and yeah, they're great people. I mean, Janet's really great to work with. She's really cool. So is Randy. They're very there's no diva vibes at all. She's a great client, so she's great to work with.
Hey, that's pretty cool though. I know you had a slight fan moment, because I'm pretty sure you are a Jackson's fan.
Oh, of course, yeah. And I mean, even like I was a huge Janet fan back in the '90s, especially I grew up in the '90s, and like I remember her albums coming out. I mean, I was a big fan. So to work with somebody who you're a fan of is just that's incredible.
Yeah, that's super dope, super cool. Okay, so I'm gonna let some more people jump on so we can get a deeper conversation. All right, I see S Hunt is on the line. S Hunt, please unmute your mic and come on and talk to Mr. Kamal Moo.
Hi, my name is S Hunt. I'm a writer, YouTuber, and I make outfits. I make lingerie outfits from scratch. But I actually was listening to your whole conversation. I want to know if you ever had like a nightmare client, like somebody who was just like too much for you.
Yeah, I've had a few. Luckily, not too many. Some people just are really difficult to deal with, and I just had to say, look, I'm sorry, I can't really work with you, because I mean, they're just not cooperative, or they just they don't want to listen, or they're just really belligerent and just kind of difficult. And even to me, it's not worth the mental health aspect to keep going with them for me, because I'm like, look, I'm at the point in my career where I don't have to take anybody that comes through the door. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely had a couple of those. Fortunately, not too many. But I think that some attorneys will kind of stick it out because they want the money, they want to keep going with the client. But I'm not that kind of person.
So. Yeah, it's not worth the headache, to be honest.
Not
I have clients like that all the time, and I literally send people their money back because it's like I don't. It's not worth it. Like, it's too much. But
and ultimately, they're going to turn on you at some point too, because if they have a bad attitude, you may be helping them now, but the minute anything goes wrong, they might turn on you, and then it's like, okay, well, I saw this coming, basically. So,
yeah. And you got to be professional all the time, so you definitely don't want to take clients that do things like that. But definitely, when did you start to become a lawyer? Like, how long ago was that?
So I passed the bar in 2006. So it's been about 15 years now. But my first gig, actually, after I passed the bar, I worked for like a venture capital firm for like a year. But then my brother's band got signed to a label, and then I started managing. Actually, that was my real first break in the industry. So for a few years, I managed his band. They went on tour. They went on a Warped Tour and stuff. And then I opened up my law practice with a partner in 2010, and then I went solo in 2013 because my partner actually left law altogether. He works in SEO now. And so, yeah, so I've been practicing law for about 10 years, but I've been a lawyer for about 15. And it's funny because being a manager really taught me a lot about how to deal with clients. I know their concerns. I've been out there on tour. I've sold merch after the show. I've driven like a tour van through Wyoming in a blizzard at 4:00 in the morning. So I know, I know their lifestyle. I know how it is. I know their concerns. And so as a lawyer, it helps really inform like the way I approach contracts, because I look at them from a practical standpoint, because I'll see something, I'm like, well, that's not going to work. I mean, if they're on tour, then how's that, so I try and always, make it as practical as possible. And so, yeah, that's kind of it's not a usual journey for an entertainment lawyer.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I have maintenance coming back and forth. G, it's on you, Riggs.
All right, cool. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. So, we have another guest that's at the bottom. I don't want to put your phone number out there, but your last four is 0648. Hit the unmute. It should be the bottom left corner, and see if you can come on and ask some questions and talk with Mr. Kamal Moo. Is it working? 706 area code. Okay, I'm gonna just keep talking. Whenever you figure it out, let me know. So, Mr. Moo, thank you again for coming on the interview for today and dropping those jewels, those knowledge, those game, that wisdom to us. What are in your life as you move forward? What are some of the goals that you have for yourself on a personal level that you would like to achieve thus far? Because you're doing very well in life. You've already within that 10-year time period have gotten with someone who is of an iconic family, not only just for America, but just around the world. So what other goals do you have that you want to set forth moving forward in your life?
So actually I wrote and produced a film a couple of years ago, but I'm trying to do more of that. I have actually 2 films that I'm sort of, I co-wrote with some people, and we're trying to have producers kind of attached to them. So I'm trying to get that going as well. I've got a lot of stuff has been getting kind of knocked off the bucket list. I actually was on Jeopardy a few months ago. As a contestant. So yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that, but I'm just trying to keep on building and you know, I love helping clients start record labels. That's one of my favorite things to do. So I'm always, you know, I always get excited when like a new client comes along, they want to start a label. I love building that. So I just, you know, want to build more companies and help. I'm really an entrepreneur at heart. So I really enjoy that. So just want to keep rolling on, you know, doing that and building and, you know, hopefully build something really big in the future, like a big label that's, you know, really does really well. And, you know, I just love the music.
Wow, that's crazy. You was on Jeopardy. So I know as a kid you used to watch that show. Like, was it everything you thought? Because I'm pretty sure it takes filming a longer time than what we can see on TV. Because my first time going to like some of these award shows, I was so amazed. It took like 12 hours just to film one award show. I was like, wow. I never thought about it like that until actually living through that experience. What was that experience like standing on stage? How long were you there doing Jeopardy?
So I just was on the one. I didn't win my episode. I mean, I was up against the guy who was really good. I did okay, but he was better than me. But it's funny because I know I got to be on there when Alex was still alive, of course, and it was interesting because I was there. They taped 5 shows in a day, so I had to get there like at 7 a.m. and I just had to wait around. Mine was like the third show they taped that day. But it's kind of in real time, honestly. There's really not a whole lot of resetting or like, you know, waiting around. They keep it going. Sometimes Alex would like kind of mess up the way he kind of set a clue. So he has to re-record that sometimes at the end. But other than that, it was really, pretty efficient and quick. And it was funny too, because I was telling my wife, it's like a weird fever dream because it was there and like the bright lights and I'm on Jeopardy and like Alex Trebek's right there. It was just very surreal. So it was very, very strange place to be in a good way, but it was just very like I was outside my body, you know, like it wasn't like a real thing.
I do agree. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty dope right there. How do you feel about independent artists and independent talent? What should they do better moving forward in 2021? Because like you were talking about on Clubhouse, everything else is closed down. People are probably not looking for talent like they once were because, you know, the whole pandemic. What should an independent artist be doing right now from your perspective?
It's funny you mentioned that because I thought the pandemic would slow down my business, but I actually had the best year ever last year. I don't know like why, right. But like people were doing deals, you know, I think because people couldn't go anywhere. They were at home finally catching up on paperwork, I guess. I don't know, but I had a lot to do. And a lot of people are really just recording a lot right now. And I think that's the thing to do. I mean, obviously, you know, concerts aren't going to happen for a while. And, you know, I think it's just a good time to make content and put it out there. You know, one thing I mentioned, I think on Clubhouse too, was like, I think independent artists really are in a good position right now because, you know, back in the day, of course, to get your stuff out there, you had to sign with a label. That was the only way to get out there. But like now it's like you can do it yourself and you should do it yourself because then if you do want to do a deal with a label, you're in a much better position. You have more leverage. You can get, more out of it. So I think that it's being really just savvy and looking at, like, if you can be an artist and an influencer, then you're going to do really well. So there's different, it's like the nature of being an artist has sort of changed now if you want to be successful.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. I agree. I think that we have to be more creative now that you have this opportunity where you're sitting at home, and you're right. You should have getting your business together. You should be getting your copyrights together. You should be organizing your songs, getting your lyrics as far as getting them, like you're saying, published in the correct way. Or even if you're going to be an actor or a model, working on your craft while you have this time, while the world is currently not moving like as it normally was. And I think that's very ideal and very smart of any talent to do those things. So you're absolutely right. And I thank you for sharing them jewels with us, because, a lot of times in our communities, we have a lot of myths and mis and disinformation based upon other people's experience that may not have had as much knowledge as a person like such as yourself. And we roll with that. We go with that. We say, hey, my homie, my friend, this happened to them. This worked for them. Well, they may just have been in the right place at the right time. And you just never know. And your flight and your plight may be a little bit more, require a little bit more studying, a little bit more work. So I appreciate that. I do.
I mean, if you ask like 100 different people how they got into the music business, you're going to hear 100 different stories. Everyone's path is kind of different. You just have to be I always say success is sort of a habit, right? Like, people who are successful work hard on a regular basis. They're not just like, oh, I feel like doing a song, then not do a song for a month and then, sit around. I mean, it's success is a habit. It's like you have to really put in the time. And I think that's what it comes down to. It's like that's what kind of what separates the people. There are a lot of people who are talented out there, but they're kind of lazy and they don't really put in the time. And then, they don't really go anywhere. They're not wondering why they're not getting results. And that's kind of why it's a hard business, and you have to really grind it out every day.
No, you're right. I agree to that. A lot of times we think that we are automatically entitled to become something because all of your friends and your homies are around you and they're telling you that you're really good. And it may not be a lie, it may be true. But like you're saying, you don't have no passion, no drive. And people don't understand even what like people like Beyonce go through just to do one show is crazy. She's up performing, practicing, losing sleep. They go to like 100 cities. Mm-hmm. And you don't get to see none of the cities. You're just going to perform, get in, and get out. What level of commitment is the average person willing to make to actually do those things? So you're very right about that.
Yeah, and I can even say on Janet's stuff too. I mean, she puts in a tremendous amount of time. When she's about to go on tour, she works a lot with the dancers and the art directors and just everybody on the whole crew just to make sure the show is as good as it can be. I mean, and that's the mark. I mean, look at, she's been doing this for decades, and like, she still puts in that time because, there's no substitute. I mean, you can't just skate at any point, and start to do that, then the quality drops off, and then you're going to, the fans aren't really going to stick around for that.
Definitely.
No, you're absolutely right. Now, like I said, I know we don't have too much longer for you. I do have a couple of people, they having problems getting on Zoom. So let me see if I can get one of them through my iPad. I have a rapping, she do reggae too. Rapping reggae artist. Her name is Deja Moore. And Deja Moore, would you like to ask some questions to Mr. Kamal Moo?
I'm sorry, my phone is going in and out. The sound, I don't know if the connection.
That's okay. Would you like to ask some questions? Because we can hear you clearly. Hold on, let me type this in there. Go ahead, Esna.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to piggyback to Clubhouse because I really have been on Clubhouse nonstop. Like, I'm a Facebook fanatic, you feel me? So I'm always on Facebook, but ever since Clubhouse dropped, it had tripled my sales just being on the app, actually finding celebrities to interview. Do you think Clubhouse has opened the doors for a lot of artists now?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's a great way to network, and I'm the people who've been hitting me up on there too through like Instagram because they saw me on Clubhouse or they heard me on Clubhouse, and I think now, especially since it's kind of the perfect time for Clubhouse to be out because we can't really go anywhere, so it's like it's a way to socialize and get together and talk, and I think it's a great thing. I think anything that connects people is great. There's some really interesting rooms popping up on there now. I'm like, as more people get in, I'm like, yeah, ones on there. But I try and just go to the professional networking ones and music industry ones, and like there's some entertainment law ones I'll pop into and just give my 2 cents on different things. People have questions about record deals and stuff, and I'll
I definitely have like a morning show now, like where people actually build their brand. Everybody comes to the platform, they give their spiel, their little 30-second elevator pitch. So it definitely helps a lot of people. I just can't get off the app. Like I'm on there 24 hours. It's really hard now. Like,
yeah, so sometimes I'll be working on a contract and I'll just kind of be listening to a room, and then like I'll try and jump in once in a while, but if I'm focused, then it's hard. But yeah, no, it's great. I love it, and I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. A lot of interesting people on there.
Okay, excuse me. Let me jump in for just 1 second. I appreciate you. All right, Deja Moore, you are live with Mr. Kamal Moo, entertainment attorney. Deja,
Can you hear me?
yes.
This is not
That's okay. Just start talking.
okay. I can hear you now.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I guess my question would be, as far as those that don't have managers, what would be the best way to find a manager that suits you? Especially when you're independent, and is there really a call for a manager when you're an independent artist and you're doing everything on your own and conducting your business on your own?
Right. Yeah. I think honestly, the best time to get a manager, and this is not a great answer that you want to hear, but I think that you kind of get a manager when you need one. I mean, you kind of need something to manage before a good manager is going to jump in. That is to say, some sort of momentum you can build on. One example is I used to manage this hip hop violinist who, super talented guy. Like he actually was playing on 3rd Street Promenade out here in LA. And he got recommended by a friend, and then I met with him and I started managing him. And he was sort of getting some gigs and kind of had some momentum. And then I kind of helped him produce a hip hop video where like it was him playing, violin, and I chose the songs and I changed his look. He's this blonde dude from Orange County, so like he looked like, but he had like a button shirt. He looked like a Mormon. So no offense to Mormons, but like it's not hip hop, right? So I kind of put him in a black shirt and like a black hat, and like that sort of became sort of his uniform. He wears it all the time. And then I kind of chose the songs, and that video kind of propelled him, where he wanted to go. So like he got on Ellen DeGeneres and like performed on her show and a bunch of different places. But like he had something going, and I was able to help him capitalize on it. And so I think, yeah, as a new artist, independent artist, you kind of have to sort of get something going. You have to get some attention, and then you say, go find a good manager and say, hey, look, let me, I need some help with this because things are starting to kind of happen and I need someone to help capitalize on that. So that's kind of the best approach. Also, too, I mean, it's hard to find a good man because I got lucky because the first group that I managed was my brother's band. So there was a natural relationship there. So he trusted me. But yeah, it's hard to find the right person too. Sometimes it's a personality thing too. You have to find the right person who can kind of fit with you as well. So, it's a few different factors there.
I feel like I need a manager now.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. All right, thank you, Deja Moore. I'm disconnect. All right, so that was really great knowledge, information. Thank you for dropping that. I got one more person that wants to ask a couple of questions, and we'll conclude in just a moment. I appreciate you. Thank you for being patient, and thank you for being on the show this afternoon. You're a really super dope, super cool person to take time out to speak to people and to see where they're at. I do. I really do. I appreciate people like you who are humble, but yet great at the same time.
I definitely do have another question.
Oh, go ahead then.
Okay, so I recently had some money taken on PayPal, and I opened up a small court claim. They take a little bit too long, but I definitely want to talk to you about that because PayPal, they kind of do this thing where they take money out your account for no reason, and they won't even give you a real reason why. They'll just tell you go read the policy. So how do you think I should go about that?
Yeah, PayPal stuff. I actually really don't use them that much anymore. I use like other, Cash App and other things because a lot of clients pay me through Venmo, which is funny because Venmo is owned by PayPal. I don't know why, but I personally just kind of harass them, honestly, just call them every day and say, hey, look, what's going on with this? But yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of experience in that area, so I can't really give you good advice. But
gotcha.
That's what I would do. I would definitely just kind of harass them until they kind of, fix what's wrong. I'm like I said, I barely use PayPal anymore. There's so many other options out there now that I sort of avoid it. And watch them take some money out of my account now just because I said all that.
That's true. Okay, I got another question. All right, DJ, you there?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Turn the camera on. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
You can go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay. And that was basically it. Well, really, with what we're looking for in a manager, because you have different people do different things, and a lot of the times we would look for someone that has the expertise or the experience, versus a manager that has a lot of momentum or that's very motivated and might be new and fresh in the industry. So it was just really a question of what to look for in the manager.
Gotcha.
Being
I think
independent artist.
I think really what you need in a good manager is someone who is has connections. I mean, obviously, like that's one of the main jobs, to like try and open some doors for you, but also somebody who can give you good personal advice. I mean, I think a manager will take care of, like, so when I managed my brother's band, for example, the booking agent would book a tour for them, and then I would have to make sure the tour happened. So like I'd have to make sure they had a tour van and they had placed, they had instruments, they had merchandise to sell. Someone who's kind of got who can kind of imagine, if you're a company, they're basically the CEO of your company. They're running you as a brand, as a company, basically. And so you need someone who sort of understands how businesses work, and they don't have to be accountants or anything, but understanding how things work and kind of look out for you. And like I said, a good manager is gonna give you some kind of, maybe tell you the hard facts sometimes, like, hey, we need to do this, and it's not going to be easy, but we're going to do it this way. But yeah, and like I said, there's a personality aspect, which is a huge other thing too, that makes a difference.
That's true. Absolutely. Even if you can't hear it, it's on my Facebook, so you gotta do is just hit the replay button. Do you have any more questions you would like to ask him?
That's everything. Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you. All right. That was Khadijah Moore. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got one more person. I'm trying to get them on the line. I'm not going to hold too much more longer, Mr. Moo. I'm going to try this one last time. That's not. Go ahead, ask some questions.
I definitely see that there's a need for lawyers. My grandmother actually just called me. She told me that to get me a lawyer. So, I'll definitely be tapping in with you. Yeah, because I want my own personal lawyer. Yeah, somebody I could call.
That's the thing. That's the thing too. I think there's a and it's justified sometimes, that like there's an idea that people get intimidated to talk to lawyers, because I've had clients come to me who said like, oh, my last lawyer kind of talked down to me, made me feel stupid, whatever. And I'm like, look, I don't do that. Lawyers are like, they're people. We're people. We just have to find someone who's a good fit. And one thing that I told a lot of young law students and a lot of young lawyers is that I realize in the music industry that usually people don't just want a lawyer, they want a friend who happens to be a lawyer. If that makes sense. It's like that they can just call me and talk to me about like what's going on and like just get a real opinion from me. And it's not like all stuffy and whatever. I mean, I don't wear suits. I don't like wearing suits, So yeah.
That's actually really dope, because I know a lot of people, like the lawyer is like the family friend. Like we have family lawyers. So it's like definitely want somebody that you could trust, somebody that can help you out when you need them. I just feel like you guys know everything. That's why I would want a lawyer. Like I feel like if I don't know something, I'm pretty sure my lawyer friend does.
Well, I mean, I think that, I think like you said, it's just like, it's not rocket science. The law is not like overly complicated. I feel like a good teacher, like a good lawyer is like a good teacher too, right? They can break any concept down, full straightforward, kind of high on themselves, and like, it's like, oh, well, this, they kind of show off their intellect, but which is like, I mean, that's an ego thing, but I definitely am not that way. I'm very, I keep everything very simple, and I don't talk down to people. And I don't know, I think it's just a good way to be.
Would you say you like managing more than being a lawyer, or would you go hand in hand with that one?
Oh, no, managing is tough. It's a tough gig, honestly. I mean, and especially there's no guaranteed compensation. I mean, like it's percentage based. So, you don't know if you're gonna, make any money until something happens. I kind of prefer being a lawyer because, it's definitely, being a manager that has his own set of stressors. That's just, it takes a specific kind of person to really succeed at that role. It's a tough thing. Sometimes it's kind of like glorified babysitting, honestly. If like the lead singer of the band is locked himself in the bathroom, is crying because his girlfriend broke up with him and they got to play a show, it's your job to go over there and get him out of the bathroom and try and get him to go play the show. Like it can be tough. So, as a lawyer, though, that's not my responsibility.
See, I get that part. The only lawyer show I've ever watched was How to Get Away with Murder, but it kind of intrigued me, like to, have people come up with different scenarios on how to win a case. Like, it's something to that.
Yeah. Yeah, you get really good at. I mean, basically, a lawyer is a high-priced problem solver. Like you're hiring us to solve your problems for you. Like you have to make a good argument, and that's why it's important to have. I think being creative. That's where the creative part comes in. You have to get really creative with your arguments and idea and stuff. So yeah. I really find it fascinating personally. I mean, one of my favorite classes in law school was constitutional law because we went through all those cases like dealing with human, liberties and civil rights and everything. And it was really fascinating. So, if anybody wants to go to law school, it's very intellectually satisfying, but it's very hard.
Yeah, definitely. When I was younger, I really wanted to be like either a detective or a lawyer. I just know I wanted to argue. Like that was just the whole thing. I used to watch so many shows on like how to be a lawyer and everything like that. So it was like, it's interesting. It does look like a lot of work though. A lot of things to remember.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? The thing is, they say that law school doesn't really just teach you the law, it teaches you how to think like a lawyer. And that's what it's true. It's like the way you attack a problem is different. Like they teach you a very specific way to think in law school and how to approach a problem. And I totally felt that before law school and once I got out, I realized that I was approaching problems differently in just the way I perceive them and the way I approach them. And, it definitely changes the way you think.
Okay, so a wise person once told me this story, and he told me that everybody answered differently. So I want to hear your input.
Sure.
So say you have a building, this is your business building, and you see that the second floor is on fire, but there's a whole bunch of clients and customers in front of the front door. How do you put out the fire?
So the second floor is on fire. The customers and clients are like, what do you mean? Like
they're all at the bottom. Like, so you got the building and everybody's just standing in front of the front door. And you got to get in that building though.
And you can't get out of you can't get them out of the way.
How are you going to get them? Well, that's on you. How are you going to get them out of the way? And how are you going to save these people?
I've never heard this question before, but my first instinct would be like, hey, there's a fire, get away from there. And then call the fire department. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I guess it's just a way of approaching. I mean, I definitely, I'm the kind of person who really takes my ethics seriously, and one of it is you have to really look out for your clients. I mean, we have what's called a fiduciary duty, which means it's the highest level of care that you have to exercise for your clients to make sure that they're okay. So I would do whatever I could to try and get them away from the building so they don't get hurt.
Okay. Now, how are you going to get in?
I'm sorry?
How are you going to get in?
What? I wouldn't go into the burning building.
That's the whole concept.
Why would I go in there if it's on fire? what am I going to do?
I know I was like, I'll just say it's a sale. Everything's free and have everybody run. But the main objective was basically like everybody always chooses to go through the front door. Like, why couldn't we go through the side door or the back door to save, the people? And once I heard that, I was like, wow, I totally missed like the whole question. Like, I'm worried about the people at the front. I should be worried about how to get in and what door I'm going to go through. Like, that was actually really like something that opened my eyes a lot. Because a lot of people always go through the front door.
We show that we care about people. So I would assume.
Yeah. So it's basically saying that everybody normally takes the same route. How about you take a different route in life? True, and that's what, that's really crazy though. He's like, I'm not going through that building. I don't, just call the firefighters.
Unless there's people in there who need saving, I guess I'll, if I can, I'll try and save them. But like,
what if they need a lawyer? Let me stop.
That's funny. It's I've never heard that before, but that's fascinating. Yeah. That's my just lawyer part of my brain, I guess. Like, I got to save my clients. So, there's a lot of lawyers who would be like, I got to get in there and save my vault with all my money in it. So,
I would go up there too to save my vote. I don't know. Got the deeds in and everything. That burn, you are nothing. So,
we have a fireproof vault and everything. We have all our deeds and everything in there. So, yeah, I hear you. Yeah. So, one thing that you guys might find, I don't know how many people are listening, but people, I get often asked about like ownership of recordings, like the whole Taylor Swift thing and how she didn't like that. And one thing I try and wanted to pass along was that that's why I tell people they should really try and make it on their own first before they sign a record deal, because once you sign a record deal, you're giving away ownership of your music. And that's just part of the deal. So I always I wanted to reinforce that from earlier, like, as an independent artist, don't give away ownership of your music if you don't have to. If you're successful, build on that first, and then you can maybe make a better deal, do a distribution deal where you own the recordings, but then you give them a license to distribute it for a certain amount of time. I know that a lot of artists are kind of pushing for that, which I think is a good idea.
Okay, now you got me thinking. Okay, so what do you think about, I heard Lil Wayne sold his and Nicki Minaj and Drake's masters. What do you think about that? Like selling your masters, like everything you own.
That's what usually happens, is like when you sign a record deal, anything you create during the term of the contract belongs to the label automatically. That's normal. I mean, in their case, I don't know like how their deal is structured and like how he got ownership of his masters or anything like that. But like, I mean, he got paid really well for it from what I understand. So, I mean,
it was only like 100 million. I'm not gonna say 100 million it's not a lot of money, but like for all their music, like that's probably like worth 20 times more, especially from Nicki Minaj. Like, I don't.
Yeah, well, it depends on what you want to do with it, because then it's like then if you want to be the record label, then that's like you have to run a business. Then you have to like run a record label and, put out the records and do all that stuff. Whereas like if you sell it to a company that's going to do that, then you don't have to. It's about like, what do you want to do, right? Like if I can totally see a scenario where like, if I own, let's say like a building, but like then I'd have to run the building and like, collect rent and then fix things and, all that stuff. That's like a lot of time investment on my part and just, headache and everything. Whereas like if I just sell it to somebody else or give it to a management company or something, like they'll have to deal with that. So I can see why, like, it'd be great to have all these masters, but like, what are you gonna do? It's like when George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney. It's like he wasn't putting out very many Star Wars movies, but Disney's cranking them out because they know how to do that. It's better off in their hands because they can do a lot more with it. So you have to think of that aspect too.
Wow, you actually taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's very true. Because even the Jackson family, didn't they just sell? Michael Jackson was probably one of the smartest businessmen ever. He owned half of Sony, which is he darn near owned every artist. That was crazy. $1 billion catalog. Didn't the family sell it for like 700 mil, if I'm not mistaken?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, they did they've done well with that catalog. And I think it was Paul McCartney who said like, hey, you want to get into music publishing. And I'm actually teaching a class of music publishing at my old law school starting like next week. And yeah, there's a lot of money in music publishing. If you're a songwriter and write good compositions, you can do well. I mean, you can really, you can make a lot of money. I mean, what's his name? Bob Dylan just sold like his catalog recently for like $300 million or something crazy like that. So, there's money there to be made if you're good at that. So, I was telling my clients, don't give it away too soon. If you can hold on to it for as long as you can. The way the internet now has made it possible for all of us to just put out music. I mean, SoundCloud and different outlets. I mean, it just, there's no need to jump and do a deal like you used to. If you can do that stuff yourself. I mean, look at like Chance the Rapper and like Drake was solo for a long time. Like, those guys just built it. And then when they went to go do a deal, they got a really, they were able, I don't know their deals, but I'm sure they were able to do like a good, a deal where they kept a lot more than they would have otherwise.
You're right. And even an artist who's been in the game for a while, Tech9, I was looking at an interview where he said he got offered like millions. I think it was over like 20-30 million for him to sign with a label, which is crazy because, most times, especially in hip hop, as you know, they always try to put like a date on artists. They try to put like an expiration date, but he exceeded that and exceeded those myths. And it's all about, like you're saying, is creating your own wave and keeping that wave on a constant flow to whereas you're always looked at as a commodity. You know what I'm saying? You looked at something as a viable product versus something that, like you said a moment ago with George Lucas, you're putting out movies every 20 to 30 years. I mean, you have hardcore, diehard fans, but you're not really reaching that full potential. So you made a lot of sense when you said that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say too is like, I'm no big defender of record labels, but I think that people need to look at it like this. For example, I know Taylor Swift got, upset with, because she wanted her masters back and everything, which I understand philosophically, you want to own what you create. However, it's a business proposition because what happens is like her label helped make Taylor Swift who she is, right? So it's like, but they're taking a risk because what happens is when you sign with a record label, they're going to spend $500,000, $1 million recording, making your records, promoting your records. And then like, so they want to like own what they're paying for, right? Because if the record comes out and flops, then like, but you know, you don't have to pay that money back. It's just, you walk away. I mean, it's done and the label takes a loss. That's why I always say too, it's like, if you know, that's why it's like if they're paying for something, they want to own it. Whereas if you make it yourself, you're doing all the work yourself, then the risk is shifted to you, but then you get the greater rewards, because then you do a distribution deal, you keep like 80% of the income that comes in, but then again, it's on you because you're taking the financial risk at that point and not the label.
Wait, well, so what's the difference between a 360 deal and a distribution deal?
So a 360 deal is like when labels, so back in the day, of course, when artists signed to labels, they, records made a lot of money. But of course, as time went on, they did 360 deals because download, record sales, took a hit. So now, of course, the label would take a piece of your merchandise, your touring, other ancillary income. So that's like, they're going to own your recordings and they're going to take a piece of your other income. Whereas a distribution deal is, let's say that I kind of have my own label that I started, a vanity label, Kamal Moo Records or whatever. And then I'm producing records myself. I'm paying for them. I'm hiring the producers and doing them. Then I'll go to like a distribution company and do a deal with them where they put out the records. Sometimes they'll give you an advance and then they'll distribute them. So in that case, they'll get 20%, I'll get 80% because I'm still owning the recordings and I'm just licensing it to them to release for me. Now, of course, nowadays you can put out stuff on DistroKid and all that, but like a good label or distributor, I mean, they're going to help you with the marketing, hopefully. And that's kind of the value of a good distributor, because now it's kind of a double-edged sword, because now that anybody can put out music, there's just so much music out there. So if you have like a good, like solid label on your side that has a good reputation, they can help you stand out from the crowd. So they can help you get you on the right playlists and try and get you the right interviews and get your foot in the door where you wouldn't normally, be able to get, exposure. So that's kind of the issue, is like, you have to look at like, what do they bring to the table? And so, yeah, I think, distribution deals, way a lot of artists go. That's why I know Kanye talked about that a lot, is like, he wants to own what he does, but I'm like saying, well, that's a distribution deal is kind of the way to go. But like I said, in that case, you're sort of responsible for funding your own recordings, and like, you're taking the risk financially there because you're the label basically.
Gotcha. No, I get it.
Well, my good brother, I appreciate you, man. It's almost 3:49. I know you have to go in just a moment. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to just educate the people, or tell the people, or make anyone aware of that we may didn't cover?
No, I mean, I think we touched on a little bit of everything. I think there's so much out there to learn and know. I mean, again, kind of shameless plug, but check out my book, guys, like The Straightforward Guide to the Music Biz. A lot of what we talked about is in here. And like I said, it's less than 100 pages. You could read it in an afternoon. There's like a breakdown, like for example, is a chapter called like, I'm starting a record label. Now what? I'm a songwriter. Now what? Like what you need to do to sort of protect yourself. It's a good kind of introduction to the music industry and just how to, just how to navigate it a little bit. Because there's a lot, like I said, I had a friend who, he was a Grammy Award-winning songwriter like a few years ago, and he didn't know anything about music publishing. He didn't know where his money was coming from. So then I went and sat down with him at a Starbucks one day and just explained like, well, these are mechanical royalties, these are public performance royalties. And I just went through where the money comes from and how these things are structured. So, it's good. So like, there's people in the industry who just don't understand a lot of things. So that's why I think it's good to, educate yourself. And like I said, my book is a good way to do it, but there's also a lot of other great books out there. So, just look around and do the research.
Okay, cool. Before we let you go, can we just get a quick drop from you? The name of the show is called My Celebrity Life. I'm GeHolla, and that's S Hunt is my co-host. And then, just plug in your social media, and then we'll be up out of here. I appreciate you.
Okay. So you just want me to do like a tag right here?
Yeah, if you can, please.
Okay. So hey guys, this is My Celebrity Life with G and S Hunt, and just wanted to give them a shout out and listen to their show.
That's right. That's good. Now, what's your social media? How do people get in contact with you?
Best way is probably like Instagram. It's at Kamal Moo 123. So it's my name and 123. Yep.
I'm gonna spell it for him. That's K-A.
I'm sorry.
Oh no. I'm sorry. I didn't cut you off. Say it again. What'd you say?
It's Kamal KAMAL MOO 123. The number is 123. I didn't get super creative when I was creating it. I was like, I just need some numbers. Oh, yeah, 123.
Yo, you spoke with Kanye West. You like Kanye West? They was clowning him because he was talking with Trump, and they showed him unlocking his phone. It was like all zeros. It was like 6 zeros. It was like click, 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 click. And the people was like, come on, Kanye, we need for you to do better than that because you just gave everybody your code. So,
right. And then like his phone now, it's like, oh, yep, that's done.
I think Kanye needs a lawyer though. You should definitely go hit him up.
I mean, Kanye seems like he'd be an interesting client to work with. So, you know, if
That's right. Definitely learn that. All right. Well, thank you for being on the show this afternoon. I was reporting to you right quick, so I'll let you go. Thank you for just being a dope person, being a super cool person. Please continue that very vibe and essence that you have, because we know that you've already done some great things and some greater works are to come in your life, and you're really just getting started. You're really just building your momentum, and we hope that all your dreams and your aspirations and everything that you ever wanted may materialize in the physical world, and you continue to win and help others. And we thank you, and we're humbled for you to be on the show, and we salute to you.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, guys. And yeah, I love the show. I'm glad you guys are doing it and spreading knowledge. And I love it. It's great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And if you have any other friends or anybody else that would like to get an interview with us, please let me know. We'll love to have them on the show too. So
I'll brainstorm on that. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much. Take care. Be safe out there.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Take care. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We're going to wrap up this year. I go by the name of GeHolla. It's not Gula, not Guala, not GeHolla, but GeHolla. You'll find this interview on My Celebrity Life. Well, actually, let me get out the way so you can see it. GeHolla.com right there. And my wonderful, beautiful co-host. What's your name, Shouty?
Hi, YouTuber, writer, and fashion designer. So definitely great to be back to work.
Absolutely. So please enjoy your 2021. Stay safe out there too as well. I know I don't know if you wear a mask or not, but just be cautious. You just don't know, People running around here with all kind of diseases. They're not telling people, don't fall the victim is all I'm saying. Especially in and out these clubs, man. You just never know. You never know what's going on with people. They don't want to tell you the real deal. Just don't get sick because not that.
Definitely not.
Yeah, absolutely. Eat your vitamins, your minerals, and stay stocked up on your vitamin D and C and B, and everything should be good.
Definitely was a great show, and thank you guys for watching us.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to be out. Just hit that replay button, man, and we can watch a lot of information and see something that could possibly help you. And just make sure that sorry, got a call. Just make sure that everything that you do, be wise, no matter how old you are, what your age may be. Just be smart. Try to save at least 80 to 90% of your money. Don't waste all your money out here in this world trying to impress people, other broke people that are broke. That's not smart. Make sure that you read, get some knowledge. Even if you're not a really great reader, read a piece at a time. No one said you have to read a whole book in a day. If it takes you a couple hours, no matter what it may do, just continue to do what you do. Be happy, be blessed, believe, meditate, whatever you're into. Find an outlet, because the world is not going to open back up like most people thought. I don't even think this year. But just be happy at the end of the day. Be happy, be thankful for the things that you do have. Stop worrying about the things you don't. You don't got to be in competition with everybody and everything, and worried about what people are saying about you behind your back, in front of your face, because those type of things leads to depression and fights, and you don't got time to be in jail. You know what I'm saying? Your family needs you out here. When I say family, I'm not just talking about if you have children or not. And, you got mothers, you got grandparents, whatever you may have. Just be smart out here. Move smart. Be around people that's going to help you. You're going to help them, so we can make this thing happen. So anyway, long story short, I ain't here to preach and teach to you. Kicking it with S Hunt for this afternoon, and we about